Africa was once the cradle of humanity. Its real name is Alkebulan, which translates to Mother of Mankind, or the Garden of Eden. But now it is one of the most deadly places on Earth for anyone to live. Barren deserts fade into lush wilderness, but nature's beauty hides threats worse than the burning sun. This land is bursting with natural resources, yet millions live with almost nothing. But how much do we really understand about this big and mysterious continent? Is it true that Africa is tearing itself in half? Could a huge dormant volcano suddenly erupt? And what about the giant geometric patterns only visible from space? Well, stay tuned because today we will embark on a journey through Africa, trying to see it from a pretty amazing perspective. Number 15. Contrasts and paradoxes. Africa is the most centrally located continent on Earth, crossed by both the equator and the prime meridian. This geographical alignment is partly why it's the hottest continent overall. While it doesn't hold the single hottest temperature record like in Death Valley, no other landmass has such a vast area of extreme heat. But heat is only part of the story. Africa is a continent of contradictions, where unlikely extremes coexist. All 10 of the world's poorest countries are found here, yet a full third of the planet's precious mineral reserves lie beneath African soil. In some areas, severe famine strikes communities, while elsewhere cities like Libreville, Gabon's capital, once topped global charts as one of the most expensive places for expatriates. In stark contrast, Mogadishu, Somalia's capital, ranks among the world's most dangerous cities. Nothing here fits one category. Africa is defined by these sharp contrasts: poverty and wealth, chaos and resilience, destruction and rebirth, all woven into one staggering living continent. Number 14. Ethnic groups, languages, and cities. Well, we say just one thing. Africa's diversity is just staggering. The number of ethnic groups is estimated between 500 and 3,000. And over 2,000 languages are spoken across the continent. Arabic leads with around 170 million speakers, followed by English at 130 million. Other widely spoken languages here include Swahili, French, Hausa, Berber, and Portuguese. The total population is nearing 1.5 billion and is expected to double by 2050. Nigeria is the most populous country, home to approximately 191 million people. However, the largest city isn't in Nigeria, it's Cairo, Egypt's capital, with more than 10 million residents. Interestingly, Nigeria holds the highest twin birth rate in the world, around 50 twins per 1,000 births, far above the global average. Life expectancy has risen over the years, from 39 to 64, but remains one of the world's lowest. What stands out most is Africa's youth. Over half the population is under 25. This youthful energy shapes everything, from culture to politics to the continent's future trajectory. Number 13. The world's shortest war. Now here's a fact you don't hear every day. The shortest war in recorded history happened in Africa, and it lasted just 38 to 45 minutes. On August 27, 1896, a conflict broke out between the British Empire and the Sultanate of Zanzibar. It wasn't a symbolic standoff either. It involved actual, real weapons, warships, and bloodshed. 2 days prior, Sultan Hamad ibn Thuwaini died. His cousin Khalid ibn Bargash seized power through a coup supported by Germany. Britain backed another cousin, Hamoud ibn Mohammed. When Khalid refused to step down, the British issued an ultimatum: abdicate by 9 a.m. on August 27th or face war. At exactly 9 o'clock, the British Navy opened fire. Explosions rocked the palace, warships destroyed Zanzibar's only vessel, and machine guns cut down resistance. The palace was obliterated in minutes with over 500 casualties. Britain lost one officer. The war ended when the Zanzibari flag fell. It wasn't just fast, it was devastating. The entire battle was over before morning tea. Well, it's weird. Number 12. Sudan's forgotten pyramids. When people picture pyramids, Egypt almost always comes to brain. But what most don't know is that Sudan holds a far greater number of these ancient structures. Estimates put the total around 250 pyramids scattered mainly throughout the ancient region of Nubia. They're smaller than Giza pyramids, and that's why they get less tourist traffic and global attention. Still, these Sudanese pyramids carry enormous historical value. Built by the Kingdom of Kush between 2500 and 1500 BCE, many of them served as royal tombs. The structures are more pointed and tightly clustered than their Egyptian counterparts, and their architecture reflects a unique blend of African and pharaonic influences. While time and looters have damaged many, their presence offers proof of a once powerful civilization that rivaled Egypt itself. Today, they stand quietly in the desert, less photographed, less talked about, but no less significant. All right, guys, now we have learned a lot about Africa's history and its ancient pyramids. Now, let's shift our focus on the important part. Number 11. Africa's changing shape. Africa's current shape didn't always exist, and it won't stay the same forever. Every few 100 million years, tectonic plates collide and reshape Earth's land masses into supercontinents. Now, scientists agree the most recent one, Pangaea, started breaking apart roughly 190 million years ago during the Jurassic period. Africa began drifting north and approached Eurasia about 19 million years ago. This movement formed a land bridge that once separated the Tethys Ocean into two. When looking at maps of ancient supercontinents like Gondwana, Africa's outline is surprisingly recognizable, meaning its current shape may have remained fairly same through multiple cycles. But the deeper in time we go, the more uncertain the record becomes. Africa, like every continent, was formed from fragments, which are basically massive tectonic blocks that push together over time. Mountain ranges and elevated plateaus show where those fragments collided. It's a reminder that even the most stable-looking land was not always stable. Number 10. The Giant Rift. Well, we're sure you've all heard about this big news. In 2018, headlines warned that a huge crack was opening in Africa, and this time, it wasn't an April Fool prank. Footage from Kenya, Tanzania, and Ethiopia showed roads, fields, and homes splitting apart as a deep chasm tore through the landscape. Some rifts were wide enough to swallow trucks. Well, locals, to save their homes, tried their best to fill them with stones, but the ground kept shifting. These visible cracks are part of a much larger process, the formation of the East African Rift. Now, it's not something new. Scientists have tracked tectonic activity in the region for years. But what shocked many was how suddenly the change became visible. The rift is more than a crack. It's a preview of the continent's split. Beneath the surface, tectonic forces are pulling land masses apart, creating fractures that stretch for thousands of kilometers. The process isn't happening overnight, but it's happening. And for the first time, people are watching the birth of a new landscape in real time. Number 9. Will Africa really split? Well, to understand Africa's potential breakup, we need to look at tectonic behavior beneath its surface. The vast crack forming is part of the East African Rift, which is a developing depression stretching nearly 7,000 kilometers from the Red Sea to Mozambique. This isn't specific to a single region. It's a multi-country phenomenon involving Mozambique, Malawi, Tanzania, Burundi, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, and Ethiopia. The rift has two branches, encircling Lake Victoria from east and west. It began forming nearly 35 million years ago, triggered by intense thermal activity in the asthenosphere, which forced the crust to expand and fracture. This pressure created ideal conditions for volcanic activity and birthed Mount Kilimanjaro, Africa's highest point. The rift later advanced southward, reaching Kenya 25 million years ago. According to NASA, the Somali Plate is gradually pulling away from the Nubian Plate. Together with the Arabian Plate, these movements form a Y-shaped fracture that is physically redrawing Africa's geography. Number 8. Africa's slow separation. The East African Rift is not just a scar across the land, it's a deep and evolving split that marks the separation of the Somali and Nubian tectonic plates. This vast system cuts through parts of Uganda, Malawi, Ethiopia, and beyond. The Western Rift is lush and borders the Congolese rainforest, while the Eastern Rift is drier and more arid. These faults aren't just visible, they're active. Seismic zones, volcanic chains, and shifting valleys prove that Africa is fracturing on multiple lines. According to geological studies, the plates are drifting apart by roughly 6.35 millimeters per year. While that may sound slow, over millions of years, it adds up. Scientists now believe this movement could lead to the creation of a new ocean basin. Africa isn't just a continent of the past. It's a continent mid-transformation. While the timeline remains uncertain, the land is undeniably changing beneath our feet, and the consequences will reshape the map forever. Number 7. Scenarios of a new continent. There's more than one theory on how Africa might split. The most likely scenario is a significant chunk of the Somali Plate could detach entirely, forming a new sea and a separate landmass. This new body of land would include Somalia, Eritrea, Djibouti and parts of Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, and Mozambique. Another projection suggests only the eastern portions of Tanzania and Mozambique would break off. While the details vary, most models agree. The majority of the African landmass will remain intact. Still, what splits off won't be minor. It would form a massive island, or in time, a small continent. What future generations call it remains to be seen. But regardless of the scenario, geologists agree that we're observing one of the planet's slowest yet most dramatic transformations. The Earth reshapes itself in silence. Whether the split happens in 50 million years, or not at all, the tectonic forces are real, active, and constantly carving the future of the land. Number 6. Why the rift might fail. Despite the huge scale and clear signs of movement, some geologists think the East African Rift may not succeed in splitting the continent. Earth's history is full of failed rifts, where tectonic activity began but never finished the job. One such example is North America's mid-continent rift, a 3,000-kilometer fracture that never formed an ocean. Africa's case might end the same way. Though the Somali and Nubian plates are moving apart, the forces behind their motion could slow, stall, or shift direction over time. That means this current geological drama could fizzle out before reaching the finale. The future of the rift remains open. It could deepen and form a vast ocean basin like the Red Sea, or grind to a halt and leave behind another scar in Earth's crust. Either way, the timeline spans tens of millions of years. For now, we're just fortunate or unfortunate enough to witness the early chapters of something truly massive in motion. Number 5. What's hidden beneath Africa? Africa's underground isn't just splitting, it's stacked with treasure. Geologists estimate the continent holds nearly 1/3 of the world's natural resources. The region south of the Sahara is still largely untapped, holding vast potential. Beyond oil, coal, and gas, Africa harbors some of the rarest and most valuable minerals known. One standout is coltan, short for columbite tantalite, a heat-resistant metal essential for electronics. It's used in smartphones, laptops, satellites, and more. Africa supplies nearly 80% of the world's coltan, with most of it sourced from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Meanwhile, Guinea holds the planet's largest bauxite reserves, used to produce aluminum, containing 40% of global supply. Cameroon and Mali also contribute. As for diamonds, Africa dominates there too, with Botswana, Namibia, Angola, South Africa, and Sierra Leone leading production. These resources drive global industries, but they've also fueled conflict. The continent's natural wealth is enormous, but managing it remains one of Africa's greatest modern challenges. Number 4. Kilimanjaro, Africa's icon. Mount Kilimanjaro is one of Africa's most iconic landmarks, standing shoulder to shoulder with legends like Mount Fuji and the Matterhorn. It's part of the East African Rift System, just 80 kilometers from the Rift Valley. Kilimanjaro is not only the highest peak in Africa at 5,895 meters, but also the tallest freestanding mountain on Earth. Its silhouette is unmistakable, rising sharply from the flat savanna below. Despite its huge height, Kilimanjaro is surprisingly accessible. It's the easiest of the 7 summits to climb. That's why it attracts not just seasoned climbers, but also adventurous first-timers. The mountain hosts 3 peaks, Shira, Kibo, and Mwenzi, with Kibo being the highest. Kilimanjaro is classified as a stratovolcano, but it hasn't erupted in modern history. The most recent eruption is believed to have occurred around 200,000 years ago. Still, geologists keep a close eye on it. For now, the mountain sleeps, but who knows for how long. Number 3. Lake Victoria's decline. When people think of African lakes, many remember Lake Chad, but the largest is actually Lake Victoria, shared by Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. Covering 69,000 square kilometers, it's big. At its deepest point, it reaches about 84 meters, but beneath its size lies a growing crisis. Before 1950, the lake was home to over 500 fish species. To boost fish stocks, Nile perch was introduced. Instead of balancing the ecosystem, they wiped out more than half the native species. Add to that the spread of water lilies, which consume huge amounts of oxygen and block sunlight. These lilies were introduced in the early 20th century and have since choked key parts of the lake, disrupting both fishing and transportation. What was once one of Africa's most vibrant freshwater ecosystems is now struggling to survive. Despite this, Lake Victoria is a natural landmark. Number 2. Lake Chad's collapse. Many of us still remember Lake Chad from old-school maps, a wide, life-giving reservoir nestled in Africa's heart. But today, that image no longer reflects reality. The lake's current shape is almost unrecognizable. Its maximum depth barely reaches 10 meters, and its average depth hovers around just 1. Seasonal rainfall used to sustain it, but now the situation has turned dire. The water level has dropped so dramatically that parts of the lake have vanished altogether. What makes this collapse even more painful is the extraordinary life that once thrived here. Hippos grazed the shores, crocodiles stalked shallows, antelopes and buffalo roamed freely, and lions chased zebras through dense reeds. Even birds from Europe made seasonal stops, flamingos, pelicans, and migratory flocks. But now, the biodiversity is in free fall. Number 1. The Eye of the Sahara. The Richat structure, aka Eye of the Sahara, spans 40 kilometers across and is one of Earth's strangest natural formations. From above, it looks like a bullseye carved into the desert. Its outer rings are estimated to be over 500 million years old. For years, scientists debated its origin. It looks like an impact crater, but there's no evidence of a meteorite strike. Instead, it's believed to be a deeply eroded geological dome, formed by wind and water over immense time. For astronauts, it's a landmark, clearly visible from space in a sea of desert. Yet no explanation fully accounts for its perfect symmetry. Surrounding myths claim it's the lost city of Atlantis, but science still leans on erosion. Whatever its origin, the Eye of the Sahara is strange. If you found this video interesting, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.